when you get into the stuff where you're talking about finance and funding and stuff like that, a lot of these guys, they don't know how to do it, right? They don't know how to make that pitch. A guy like Gates is a perfect guy who can make that pitch, right? He can raise the awareness of stuff. But when these guys go home, they're looking to be liked. They're looking at their next election. They just want a glad hand. They want to kiss some babies, press some palms, and that's it. Collect some checks, add it to their war chest because they know they've got to run for office again. And when you get to stuff like that, some of it is too wonky for them. They can't explain it to people in simple enough terms where they would be like, "Oh yeah, we got to do that." I just feel like most of them.
You can't explain what the FBI's been doing. You can't explain what the DOJ's been doing and is doing to your former favorite president and the leader of the current election season we're in. You can't explain that the country's going bankrupt. You can't explain what's going on at the border. You can't explain what they're doing with energy. Who can't understand any of that?
Yeah, but those are the big headline things. When you're talking about, oh, we're going to defund this, that's when people start, and the news will get on them. And believe me, they are very into what the media is going to say about them as well, because they want to come off looking good in the media. And if you'd start talking, well, we're going to defund this and we're going to defund that, let's face it, the headlines will blow up. This person is trying to take everything away from you. And unfortunately, that's because of the complicit media on the left. And let's face it, half of these guys in the House and a lot of these senators, they're really Democrats, Democrat light. They're not really conservatives, right? They don't identify as conservatives. They identify as Republicans. And we all know Republicans are Democrat light for the most part. Mitch McConnell's. You got a bunch of Mitch McConnell wannabes out there. Unfortunately, that's what we're stuck with. But that's been the standard operating procedure basically for the last, I don't know how many decades, is that these guys just, hey, I say what I got to say to get elected, and when I get in there, we'll make a deal. Yeah, we'll get you what you want. You give me a little bit of what I want. Everybody's happy. Thing is, these days.
But this is the October 1st budget. This is funding of the government. This is not something they could decide can do, can't do, or some want to be involved and some don't want to be involved. This is the one thing we have. This is the one fight we hold the power to fight and not have a continuing resolution like we have for how many times. So we've been in this fight. I've talked about this since 2015. You've heard me say this multiple times on this show, that Nancy Pelosi kicked their asses all over every time this debate came up. Is this time going to be any different? I just don't know why Republicans can't learn to actually get out in front of what they want to do and actually try to talk the talk and sell it to the American people. Even if half your caucus doesn't actually believe in it and they're more in line with the other side. That's part of the problem.
That's part of the problem. And let's face it, these people, for the most part, they suck. They suck. They're terrible. All they want to do is kick the can down the road so they don't get blamed, right? That's why the continuing resolution exists. Because nobody wants to do the actual hard work. When they talk about reforming Social Security, the pearl clutching, the screaming at the sky that happens on both sides, because, oh my goodness, you can't do that. But if you don't do it, what's the negative? What's the impact of not doing something? We all know it's going to be broken, 6-8 years, they're saying? But nobody wants to do it. And that's the thing. Nobody wants to actually do anything that might make them, at first, it might make them look bad, but in the long run, you'll come out smelling like roses. No, it's all about the immediate satisfaction.
I don't necessarily agree with that because when you look at these issues, when you look at the border invasion, when you look at transgender taking over the culture, when you look at gas at $5, when you look at things like that, they all poll extremely well in Republicans' favor. Election deniers and fraud and this and that does not poll well. But all these other issues that the Republicans could be taking the lead on right now at a moment that most people in the country recognize how the country is doing. I just continue to see no leadership from leadership in the Republican Party on any of this, including election fraud, by the way.